Yeah. So if hunger and fear are always the human condition, then what happens when I calm down that hunger and fear? Like what can I come what other things can come out of it, but other than me just being not fearful and not hungry? Is there something bigger?
No, as long as we are alive, we will be hungry and we will be frightened. That's normal. The question is, how much of it is imaginary hunger and imaginary fear? So you're hungry when you get stressed out, you're hungry all the time. You want to eat and nibble all day because you're just stressed out. We call it stress eating. Or you don't eat. You're so stressed, you stop eating. If you're frightened, the same thing happens. Our body takes more resources. What happens to a child when it is frightened? It goes and holds a doll and clings to a doll. Or you go to the corner of the room, you get scared, you start behaving pathologically. Everything starts going wrong because you are not able to center and figure out, okay, this is what I'm hungry about. This is what I'm frightened about. And you get confused about life. And that's what's happening in the world. We're bombarded with so much of information around every minute. The moment you step out, everywhere we go, we are in the jungle, right? We are in a hyper jungle, not even a jungle, a hyper jungle, where there are imagined predators. You listen to a politician, what does he do? He agitates you. He agitates you. He will tell you that, they're coming for your jobs, they're coming for your life, they're coming for your property, and he works you up. You talk to an activist and they'll say they're stealing your jobs, they're taking everything from you, life is unfair, they have taken away what belongs to you, and you're now feeling down and depressed and miserable. They use language, and there's what I call the hyper jungle has been created. Yeah. We keep surrounding ourselves with this hyper jungle. And then you come and do meditation for some time, and then you realize, hey, wait a minute, it's not as bad as it seems. You suddenly your muscles knot and you get those back pains and your neck pains and you realize this is all a manifestation of all those terrible knots in your, and that's what yoga is defined, right? Unknotting, chitta vritti nirodha. That's the definition. Unknot. What is knotting? We are knotting ourselves, which is what stress does to us. We use the word stress, but I define stress with these two words, hunger and fear. They're very practical words. Everybody connects with these words. Stress is now such a generous term. Everybody uses it, but you use the word hunger and fear and you bring it to a very basic level. And I see, an animal in the forest is frightened all the time. It never knows when, imagine you are a little frog jumping around and suddenly a snake comes and catches you and you're done, you're finished, you're over. So, frog has to be hyper alert. It cannot afford to be. But in our case, even when the snake is not there, we are told there are snakes everywhere.
Yeah, right.
And that imaginary part is what animals don't have. We have it.
Yes. So I like that you just used, like you just said, politicians use this term, they're after your job. They're coming for you. They're doing this. They're doing that. And this training, when I did a lecture on what is the cause of suffering, I said that the root of all suffering is otherness, is that the other, and you seeing the other out there, is the root of all your pain and suffering and conflict. Can you talk about this idea of otherness and the dissolving of otherness that is seen within yoga and the tradition of Hinduism itself through Darshan, like through the idea of looking and seeing, because that was a big impact when I read that, and I read that in some of your earlier books when I read this idea of seeing someone else and seeing them.
So in a very cheesy way, the film Avatar brings it. I see you. They keep using the line without, I don't think James Cameron has any understanding of that word, but he uses the dialogue a lot. I see you, I see you. What it means is very simple. I see your hunger and I see your fear. Otherness is saying that I think you will eat me. While darshan is recognizing that I can eat you too. I'm as frightening as the other. So this, that you have the same emotions, it is variant, but you also fear, you are also hungry, I am also frightened, I am also hungry. Rather than saying the whole world revolves around me and everybody's out to get me, that's othering. Whereas see you as something as threatening me or as an opportunity. I see you only as an opportunity or a threat. Anyone of you all are business students?
Business students.
So you must have heard of this word called SWOT analysis, SWOT, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat.
Yeah.
So use these 4 words. And what happens is in othering, I see you either as opportunity and threat. But when I see you as a complete person, then I see your strength and weaknesses also. And I realize I also have strengths and weaknesses. I am also an opportunity. I am also a threat. So which means now there's a connection established between you and me. This is what darshan does. It sort of makes me recognize that everybody around me is having stress, and everybody, it's not that I'm someone special and others are out there to get me. They think I am out there to get them. So, and that is creating the tension in the room.
Right. Right. So seeing the other is acknowledging that there's a equalization of the relationship.
Yes. And that's what creates empathy. That's where empathy comes in. Othering is the opposite of empathy. I don't empathize with you at all. I am terrified of you. You have become a monster. It's like the Greek hero going to kill a monster.
Yes.
But imagine if I'm saying that, oh, I suddenly discover the monster is a person and is a person. And I have to negotiate my way with this person, figure out how close I want to be, how far away I want to be. But that is a person nevertheless. How much boundary should I have? Should I have boundaries? How vulnerable do I become in front of this person? All those choices start appearing. And the more yoga you do, the more clarity there is. There's more ease with which you establish your spaces.